Well, Lucy pulled the football from Charlie Brown once again. Another trip to Arrowhead, another defeat, 9 in a row. None hurt more than this for the Broncos. And as I said on social media earlier, I haven't seen a Broncos locker room that devastated after a defeat since all the way back in January of 2013 when Joe Flacco hit a touchdown pass past Raheem Moore, and then the Ravens won in double overtime. So it's a pretty high standard for that sort of deflation, dejection. But that's what the Broncos feel right now, and they're going to have to marinate in that for a bit. The 24-hour rule probably doesn't apply to this kind of game. Sean Payton said it's going to sting for a while, and frankly, the players in the locker room seem to know it. In time, there's going to be a lot that you can take that shows just how far this Broncos team has come. For one thing, they played the Kansas City Chiefs on even terms. They beat them last year in Denver. This year in Arrowhead, they were a blocked field goal away from winning and knocking the Chiefs from the ranks of the unbeaten. No longer do the Chiefs stand as this colossus to be feared by the Broncos. They can go toe-to-toe with them. And if you can go toe-to-toe with these guys, you can go toe-to-toe with pretty much anybody in the league. And I use that term going toe-to-toe because in the Broncos' search for a quarterback over the years, you wanted to find somebody who could go toe-for-toe and drive-for-drive with Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not going to sit here and say that Bo Nix is there yet or even close to that at this point. But when you see at the end of the game, down by 2 points in a screaming, hostile stadium, Bo Nix guiding the Broncos downfield for what should have been a game-winning drive and an era-defining drive for what the Broncos are trying to build under Sean Payton. Bo Nix passed a lot of tests today. Okay, it wasn't perfect. Certainly the Chiefs had him figured out on some of those blitzes where he didn't really have much of a shot, had a couple of massive yardage losses under that pass rush, but he completed a lot of clutch passes. He's a rookie. So is Devon Vele. So is Audric Estime. Lucas Kroll had never played before the second half of last season. All of those guys made key plays for the offense in this game, which is probably the second thing you can take from this, is that you can trust the kids. Doesn't mean you push all the veterans aside. Adam Troutman, great play on that catch and run for that got the Broncos downfield. Love how he's directing traffic, directing Courtland Sutton to block. Courtland Sutton with some big catches today. So you've got this mix developing of the seasoned veterans and then the kids who are going to help guide the Broncos out of the wilderness. So there's a lot of hope there. There's hope on the defensive side. Once again, the Broncos stifled the Chiefs. They had 9 points in that game last year in Denver in October. They had 19 2.5 weeks earlier when the Broncos came in here and lost. The Chiefs had only 16 points today. That's 3 straight times since Sean Payton became the head coach that you have held them below 20. You've held them in check. You've got something figured out on Patrick Mahomes and company. So there's a lot that you can take that as long as you don't let this loss become too emotionally devastating, there's a lot you can take going forward that shows why the Broncos are a playoff contender, why they are right there. And they get a chance next week against Atlanta to get a win over a first-place team that can help stabilize their position in that regard. But they're going to have to pass another test in the next week, and that is an emotional test of getting past the most devastating loss that we've seen in Broncos country in quite a while from an emotional perspective. Broncos fall on that blocked field goal at the end, 16-14 here at Arrowhead Stadium. This, as always, is brought to you by our friends over at Matthews Fine Watches and Jewelry. They have time for you, and I'll talk to you next time.